This is section 6.1. We're going to begin with the law of sines. Now, what is the law of sines? Why do we need it? Well, that's what we're going to find out. In this section, we have 4 objectives. We're going to use the law of sines to solve what are called oblique triangles, as opposed to right triangles. And we are going to also find areas, and we're going to solve a couple of real-life problems. Now you'll notice that there are 2 different types here, angle, angle, side, and angle, side, angle, and then this side, side, angle. We'll talk about what that means. So this is an oblique triangle. You'll notice it is not a right triangle. All the trig that we've been doing has involved right triangles, and now we don't have that. So what do we do? Well, we're going to do what's called solve. We're going to solve an oblique triangle, and in the end, our goal is to try to find the measure of the 3 angles and then the measure of the 3 sides. A couple of things to note in terms of the notation. If I have an angle and I look to the opposite of that angle, I'm going to find the corresponding side. Here's B, opposite that. Here's side B. Here's angle C, opposite that. There's side C. So when you label your oblique triangles, make sure that you follow that notation. Now, in working out oblique triangles, there are 4 different cases that come about. We're going to use the law of sines for these first 2 cases, and then in section 6.2, we'll talk about the other 2. So for law of sines, again, we're going to check to see, look at triangles where you're given 2 sides, 2 angles and a side, and there are 2 cases. And then the case where you're given 2 sides and an angle. And notice that the angle is going to be opposite one of the sides. So here's the law of sines. Notice that we've given this to you with 2 kinds of triangle possibilities. Here we have the possibility where our angle A is acute. And then here we have the case where angle A is obtuse. Also notice that we have drawn in this H, this height, this H, because one of the things we're going to do a little bit later is we're going to try to find the areas of these oblique type triangles. Now notice how it's written. I have side A over sine of A equaling side B, the length, over the angle, sine B, and then side length C over sine of C. You can also write it in this reciprocal form, where it's the sine over the leg. That's okay too. Depending on the problem you're working out, will depend on which one you choose.